graduates, welcome to Meeple University. Today's lecture is for Bunny Kingdom board game. Game is about clans of bunnies to throw together their wealth and control over land and collect the golden carrots. We're going to take you through the brief overview first, then we'll give you our initial thought of the game coming up. Hi, I'm Stella. Here at Meeple University, we do a variety of quality board game videos. How to play, overview, review, playthrough, vlog, and contributing to the Dice Tower board game breakfast. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing and hit the bell button to be notified when we post new videos. Now let's get to the brief overview for Bunny Kingdom, game by Richard Garfield, published by Elon. Game courtesy of VR Distribution Australia.
Bunny Kingdom is a card drafting and area influence game in which players serve as rabbit lords attempting to establish the greatest fiefs throughout the kingdom by building up their bunnies and buildings on the map. The game plays over 4 rounds of card drafting. Players play 2 cards at a time from their hand, giving the rest to a neighbour, and this continues until either 10 or 12 cards have been taken by each player, depending on the player count. Special rules exist for the 2-player version of the draft. Then, players use their cards to build up their fiefs on the map. A territory card allows the player to place a bunny token into the grid reference matching that card. Building cards allow the player to place a fortified city token or a cardboard building token onto one of their territories, with a limit of 1 building per territory. And a parchment card is kept secret until the end of the game, when it will ultimately reveal a scoring bonus. At the end of each round, after all of the territories are claimed and all of the buildings have been placed, players score all of their fiefs. That is, any continuous area of orthogonally connected bunnies in a player's colour will score points. The score for a fief is equal to its strength, which is equal to the number of towers on city tokens in that fief, multiplied by its wealth, which is equal to the number of different resources available in that fief. So this fief here would score 2 times 4 equals 8 points. There are only 3 basic resources in the game, however there are 7 unique luxury resources which can be drafted and then constructed to increase the wealth of a player's fiefs. After 4 rounds of play, the game ends. Players flip over any parchments that they've collected during the game and then score points for their objectives or for the treasures. The player with the highest score wins.
We hope that the brief overview gives you some overall idea on how the game plays. Now on to our review. The artwork of Bunny Kingdom is really good, suitable. The cartoon modern style artwork, the cute rabbits on the cards, small rabbit figurines, and the cities are some of the components. They're really good. Don't think it's an issue. It's a little bit fragile, and as long as you're handling it carefully, it's fine. There are some pun in the cards, like the banshee for example. The artwork on each card is pretty detailed, describing appropriately the characters and the area. Setup is really easy. Components are easy to set up and pack up as well. Only thing I could criticize a bit is the player aid card. It's basically a reminder of how you can calculate the area at the end of each round, with grid calculation at the back of it. I would like to see something a little bit more, like the step of each round, the summary of it, or the types of building or something like that. The rule book is pretty good. It is explained in a logical order from game flow, each type of building cards, and so on. It also has a lot of examples through the rule book, with some explanations to some cards. The theme of the game, it's about clans of rabbits trying to build their territories, gathering resources. Cute theme, and makes it seem a bit lighter, which is good. It is not a very heavy game. Theme is okay, it is not highly thematic, but I'm the type who consider the theme as a bonus if there is. I like Euro games, and a lot of them don't have a strong theme anyway. Mechanics and gameplay. Game has a light strategy with modern element of the objective cards. Main mechanics are card drafting and area control. Some strategies involve some luck based, depending on the cards you draw. The card drafting is a good mechanic to try to even out the cards between the players. With the 2 players variant, you each have 10 reserve cards. Each time you take 1 card from your own reserve and add it to your hand, then play 1 and discard 1. Honestly, it seems quite strange at the start with your own reserve cards, but after playing it with this variant, it is great. It balances the game, and of course you want to discard the card that you think is useful for your opponents. It has to be this way, I think, because otherwise you know what exactly what everyone has, or your opponent has. You'd burn everyone's card and you would just grind to a halt. So this is a fair representation of 3 to 4 player draft. The territory control element is not too bad. Once you have placed your bunnies or buildings with your area card, there is not a way for your opponents to remove them in general. The luck-based elements seems to be a little bit frustrating sometimes, where you want to connect your grids or areas, but the cards just don't come out. There are camps that let you do this, good to connect areas, but you are also hoping that none of your opponents have this area card later on, as they can just remove your camp and break the chain of your territory later on. The calculation after each round is, I think it's a little bit fiddly. You gotta make sure that you don't miss the type of resources and strength of your cities. Not at first though, because you don't have a lot of territories or resources that you need to count, but at a later round when you have more bunnies on the board and build more cities, it could just be a little bit fiddly. Game doesn't have a lot of downtime. The main phases, which is card drafting and construction, are done simultaneously mostly, except playing the camp. Besides the card drafting and removing other players' camps, there isn't a lot of interactions in between players. Game length is about right. 4 rounds with card drafting phases. It does feel really slow at the start and you don't gain a lot of points again at the early rounds, but it escalates pretty quickly towards the end if you play your bunnies right. Replayability, I think it would be quite replayable, considering there are lots of cards you can use. You're probably not using all of the cards each game. Different area cards would be obtained by each player each time. There are objective cards that make you place your bunnies and building towards certain way. Again, at most part, it relies on the element of luck, so play it in a lighter way and it could be easily replayable. If comparing with the designer's previous game, well, Richard Garfield is quite well known for some of his games, such as Magic the Gathering, King of Tokyo, and King of New York. Well, the King of Series and Magic the Gathering are both quite different game types. The King of Series involve dice rolling and have card elements, and they're lighter games, a bit of luck based and have some area control. Although a different game, it has some sort of similar feels to Bunny Kingdom. Bunny Kingdom is not as light and not as much luck involved as the King series, however. Compared with other similar games, I'm not usually a big fan of area control games, but this one is fun because, as I mentioned earlier, once you select your areas, except for the camps at your own risk, you're pretty much on the territories without afraid of other players stealing it under your nose. The card drafting part is pretty easy, not a lot of text or prior understanding needed to select the cards, which is good for a beginner in the game. And the type of group or gamers you like to play with, because the game is not too heavy, so casual to a little heavier strategy gamers would be suitable to play the game. Families can also play this game as long as the children is old enough not to have the smaller components as choking hazard, and if they can also bear with a lot of fighting over territories possibly. our assessment of Bandic Kingdom. We hope that you find this lecture useful. If you'd like to see the tutorial of Bandic Kingdom, we've got the how to play video. You can check this out in the link in the descriptions below. Thanks to VR Distribution Australia as exclusive distributor of Bandic Kingdom in Australia to provide us with a copy of the game. If you enjoyed this video, please let us know by hitting the like button. Write your questions or feedback in the comment sections below. You can also join our Facebook group Meeple University Community to share your love for board games. If you want to be one of the first ones to be notified of our new videos, please subscribe to us if you haven't already done so and hit the bell button so you get notification. Bandic Kingdom board game? Pass with honors.